Crime. Whenever you hear this term, what do you feel? You feel that someone's life is lost, someone's property is lost, someone's dignity is lost. And according to the NCRB data, the crime rates in this country is increasing day by day. And there was a long debate in the parliament, also among the people, that criminal proceeding of this country must be improved and must be updated. Hence, we have 3 new criminal laws in this country. Hello and welcome to the in-news series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today's session is about 3 new criminal laws which has been enacted by today, and the first case among this law has been registered in Delhi also. So, moving towards the points of discussion. First of all, we are going to discuss the news, then we are going to discuss the new crimes in BNS. We are going to discuss the BNS also. Also, we are going to discuss the new timelines and different processes of this new criminal laws and what are the advantages and upside of these 3 laws. Also, what are the gray areas which needs to be highlighted, and after that we are going to discuss practice question for prelims. Before that, you have to like, share and subscribe to the Drishti IAS channel. Moving towards the news part. So from 1st July, which is today itself, we have 3 new laws which has been enacted in the country. First of all, we should know the names of 3 new criminal laws. The first name is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which in short it is known as BNS. The second one is Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, which is BNSS, and the third one is Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam, which is BSA, and they had replaced the 3 laws. So Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Indian Penal Code has been replaced by Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Then Criminal Procedure Code 1973 is replaced by Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and Indian Evidence Act is replaced by Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. So these are the 3 new laws we have. First of all, you should know and remember the names of 3 new laws, and this has been replaced by these 3 laws which is generally codified by the colonial rulers. Now we come to the another one which is about new crimes in BNS. So here we are going to discuss that what are the highlights and what are the changes which has been brought onto this law. So the first is the BNS introduces a handful of new crimes, and among them that it penalizes the sexual intercourse. So sexual intercourse is a very general thing any individual can have with anyone. So why there is a punishment for this sexual intercourse? So there is a provision that if a person is having a sexual intercourse with another person, especially to women, so this law is related between male and female. So if a male is having a sexual relation with female, and by luring and by saying that okay, I will marry you, so in that way, if the person does not marry and the person is having intercourse and sexual relation with that woman, in that case there can be jail and punishment up to 10 years. So here they have coded this term into the deceitful means. So if a man is having sex with any woman with deceitful means, it means by luring and by giving any kind of, you can say, greed that I will give you promotion, I will marry you, I will give you this much of money, I will give you that. So in terms of these conditions, if a person is having sex with another woman, in that case, and that term is called as deceitful means. So in that case, the person can be punished up to 10 years. So we had also separate laws for lynching. So Supreme Court had also asked from the center that there should be a separate laws for lynching in this country, because lynching cases had risen a lot, especially in last 10 years. So it had advised center that it should have a separate law, and it deserves a separate law because so many people are targeted on their gender identity, on their caste, class identity, also on their religious identity. Especially among the religious minorities, this lynching was very much prevalent. So in that cases, it is very important to have a separate law. So this time we have a separate law against lynching. And also, and on terrorism, the BNS has borrows mainly from the UAPA. And clause 111(1) encompasses a different kind of what you can say crimes which has been mainly influenced, and whatever the provisions we have from the UAPA, it will be applied to these law. And they had also termed, and they had also what you can say codified this thing, that if in case of kidnapping, robbery, vehicle theft, extortion, land grabbing, contract killing, economic offenses, cyber crimes, so they will have consequences like UAPA. So what's the highlight here, that if UAPA policies and rules will be applied to these kind of the crimes, the crime consequences becomes very stringent in nature. It means that the bail was not easy, the punishment can be harsh. So what other highlights we have? The other highlights is about that snatching has been categorized as a different crime than theft. Usually what happened, that theft and snatching come to a single category, but this time theft is different and snatching is different. So this is also one of the highlight, and any person can get punishment up to 3 years into snatching or theft. Also the BNS signals the legislative intent, and they said that like IPC, it starts with the chapters dealing with the general exception like punishment, abatement, right of private defenses. But there is a change here. So in IPC, what had happened, that crime against women was after the chapter 5, which deals with the sedition cases. But this time, before chapter 5, we have the one chapter which is related to crime against women, and the sedition, which is offenses against the state after the crime against women. So what it shows that? So it shows that the priority of the crime against women has been given by the government of India, and these kind of cases should not be tolerated. So we have another what you can say new timelines and processes. So earlier what you can say judicial custody was up to 15-day limit, but right now it has been extended to 90 days, which has been heavily criticized by the opposition leaders, that this will create a very chance for the judicial custody, murder, killings, and also the torture and so many things. So this is a gray area of this particular law. And also what you can say, this time they had adopted the victim centric approach. It means that if any person is going to have jail of more than 7 years, in that case the victim has right to express her points or his points. So there is a what you can say opportunity to be heard. So here victims will be heard before the withdrawal of the case by the government. Also we have a different provision which is called as trials in absentia. So what in the recent past we have seen, that due to various economic offenses, so many billionaires and so many rich person had migrated to other countries, they left this country. In such cases, the government cannot do anything. They had to wait for the person to return to the India, and in many cases they had not returned to the India, and the case remain as it is. But right now this thing will not be repeat. There is a trials in absentia. It means that if an accused in absent also, in such situation also there will be the trial proceedings, and there will be also the punishment proceeding, and the accused will given to the punishment. So this is a new law. And also it has removed the provision of statutory bail. So what happens that in terms of statutory bail, suppose that if any person has got this punishment up to the 3 years, and if a person has completed 1.5 years, so in that case the person can be given the statutory bail. But this time this provision has been removed by the government of India. And recent case of JNU student Sharjeel Imam, what we have saw that Sharjeel Imam has got a statutory bail in one of the cases, but still he is not out of the jail because this provision has been removed by the government of India. And if a person is accused of more than 1 and 2 crimes, in that cases the accused will remain into the judicial custody and police custody, and they had to follow the proceedings. So this is also one of the highlights. Then we'll come to the what are the upsides. It means that what are the new features which would be beneficial for the people. So the first thing is that they had introduced the introduction of the community service. So for the small crimes just like defamation, just like small theft, and also attempt to die by suicide, in such cases there can be alternative rather than jail, that the person has to do community service. Though the community service is not defined into this law, so this also remains a very gray area to this thing. So this is also that the person can do community service in terms of the very small cases. Also there is another provision that sexual intercourse with a minor wife is considered as a rape, and it comes in the ambit of the rape. So earlier there was a confusion between IPC and POCSO. The age was very much debatable, like 15 years is fine or 18 years is fine. But right now this confusion has been removed by this government, and they had said that up to 18 years it is implemented. And also, as I had already told you, that according to the suggestion of Supreme Court, there is a separate law for the mob lynching, because so many people are targeted because of their identity. So this is upside for this particular law. And also there is an emphasis on video conferencing and also the speedy trials. So these are the upsides of these laws, that if we can see the video conferencing of various proceedings, then we'll have more transparency, and we can also see that how a judge is dispensing a case and how a person is given a different kind of punishment and how justice is given into the judicial system. So video conferencing is very much important, and also speedy trial for many of the cases, so that not many innocent people should be dragged into any false cases. Though this always a problem when it comes to the implementation, so we'll see that how implementation goes. Now we'll talk about the gray areas. So I already had told you various gray areas, but here we'll highlight few other gray areas. So Supreme Court had said that there should not be the laws on sedition, and the sedition must be abolished. But still what they had said that this time also by any means the laws of sedition exist. Earlier that was defined as a Rajdrah, but right now they had changed the terminologies and it is the Deshdrah. So earlier rebellion against the king, but now it is rebellion against the nation. So this is still there, and we have seen that many false cases and many extrajudicial burden because of the sedition thing. Also we have seen that penalizing rape cases where the victims are male. So the laws are silent onto this issue, that what happened where many times we have seen that there are male victim also who had suffered these kind of sexual violences. So what will happen into that area? So it is advised from the government, and it is advisable for the government of this country, that there should be more laws which should be gender neutral in nature, and justice given to different kind of genders, which is male, female. Also few people associate themselves with none of them, and also transgender community. So it depends upon them. So whatever the laws we have, that should be gender neutral in nature, so that every community and every gender will get justice. So this is the gray areas we have. Now we come to the question part. The question is, who among the following first Indian formulated or drafted the first Indian Penal Code? And your option are, so options are is Thomas Babington Macaulay, W.H. Sleeman, James Andrew Browne Ramsay, Warren Hastings. So you have to answer this into the comment section. I hope you like this session. If you have any queries related to this session, kindly ask in the comment section. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.